Hi guys, welcome back. It's your girl Shaquina Lewis and I am back with another video. Welcome back to another week, guys. Today we are going to be talking about intimacy inside of a marriage. What does intimacy looks like inside of a marriage? And may be able to give some pointers on how to grow your intimacy with your spouse. So let's get started. What is intimacy? A lot of times when people think about intimacy, they always talk about or think about physical intimacy. Whereas that looks like sex or any sexual act, we always believe that that's intimacy and that's all. But guys, I'm here to tell you that there is so much more than physical intimacy, and there's so much more to intimacy than sex, all right? And a marriage without intimacy, a marriage with just physical intimacy, just sex, is not healthy, all right? So let's dig in, let's dive in and discuss what intimacy looks like inside of a marriage. All right, guys, so in a Christian marriage or in a marriage in general, intimacy encompasses in three different forms: physical, emotional, and spiritual, all right? All three are very important or very vital for a fulfilling marriage, okay? For a fulfilling relationship, to fulfill love, those three must be touched: physical, emotional, and physical. Out of those three, like I said before, a lot of times people just look at the physical part, but they forget the emotional and the spiritual part of intimacy. And those are very important. All right, so the first one that we're going to talk about is physical intimacy, that we're all aware of, that we all know, physical intimacy. The Bible affirms sexual intimacy within a marriage as a gift from God, meant to be a source of joy and fulfillment. So guys, sex is a gift from God. It was given by God for two people who are man and woman, not man and man, not woman and woman, but it was intended for one man, one woman, all right, to engage in what we call sex, what we call an intercourse. So that was a gift from God. That is something that God gave marriages, relationships to do. Intimacy, it fosters a deeper sense of oneness between husband and wife, okay? When a husband and wife is engaging in sex, you feel it's like a deep connection and you feel one, and it strengthens the emotional and spiritual bonds between husband and wife. All right, we all understand that. We know that physical intimacy is very important in a marriage. And we also know that a man's drive is much higher than the woman's drive in most cases. I believe in almost all cases, but there's always one. And a lot of times women, we don't have that drive like men. And a lot of times men may take that as rejection, or my wife doesn't want to sleep with me, or every time I'm coming to my wife, it's always no, no, no. I believe women, we need to communicate openly with our spouse. Men as well. Have open communication with your spouse. Express your needs, express your desires to your spouse. Men as well, express that to your woman, and understand each other. Women understand that your men, again, I'm talking to my ladies, understand that their drive is much higher than ours. And I understand, there may be times where you're sick. It's okay to be tired. It's okay, but let's not make that a habit of every single day our husband is coming to us and we're refusing them. Every single time, they're wanting to be intimate with us, we are refusing. Let's try not to do that, because I believe women are creatures. We're more like affectionate, spend time, quality time, but men, I feel like when men engage in sexual activities with their wife or have sex with their wife, I feel like that's when they feel the most loved by their wife. Okay, and again, it's just my opinion. I may be wrong. So we need to understand that their sex drive is stronger than ours, and we need to communicate with them our needs and our desires, communicate with them and see where we can come to a common ground to allow our physical intimacy to flourish. Okay, because a marriage without sex, it's not a marriage. You know, a marriage without sex, you start to grow far apart from each other. You start to, the man may find interest in someone else. The woman may find interest somewhere else, you know, because you know that saying, if you're not getting it from home, if you're not getting it, they getting it from somewhere else. That's not biblical, but it's the truth, you know? So we need to openly communicate with our partners when it comes to physical intimacy, and spice it up. You know, spice up your physical areas in your relationship. It's okay to spice it up. All right, so the second type of intimacy we're going to talk about is emotional intimacy. All right, and we're going to read Genesis 2 verse 24, and it reads, "This is why a man leaves his father and mother and is united to his wife, and they become one flesh." Not two, but one flesh. The concept of one flesh in this scripture, it emphasizes the emotional and spiritual unity that should exist in marriage. So emotional intimacy, it involves being able to be vulnerable with your spouse. Trust. You know, do you trust your spouse with your deepest, darkest secret? Being able to talk to your spouse. You know what I'm saying? Intimacy, like I said, it's not just about sex. Do you and your spouse, you know, before y'all go to bed, do y'all take time to talk to each other? You know, are you vulnerable around them to be able to be yourself, to share things with them, to talk? Do you guys have a relationship? You know, that's intimate. I feel like that's like one of the best types of intimacy is emotional. Be able to lay with your spouse for hours at a time, you know, and just talk about everything. Cuddle up in your bed, you know, and just talk. Tell secrets to each other, you know, and just listen to your partner. Your partner listens to you, you know, and you guys just develop a friendship, because marriage, believe it or not, it's a friendship. You know, this is your friend. This is supposed to be your closest friend, where you can share everything with this person. You know, that's another type of intimacy. You know, that's a deep type of intimacy. And some practical tips to grow your emotional intimacy is practice active listening. You know, a lot of times we don't listen to our spouse. You know, we always have an answer. They talk, but we listen to just have the answer. But actively, just listen to your man talk. Let him talk to you, you know, about his day, about what he's going through, what he's dealing with at work, what he's dealing with his peers, you know. Just let him talk. Make time for quality conversation. Make time for quality time. Quality time is important. And again, in this society, it's like the couples are not spending time with each other anymore. Couples are like, can you imagine a married couple lives in a house together and they're seeing each other once a week? They're seeing each other every other day. They're seeing each other every, 3 days because of work schedules. And I understand we have to work, but we got to take time to spend quality time together. You know, like, once one person is going to work in the morning, when they're coming home, that's when the next person is going to work. Or you spend all day at work, you spend all day with your friends, you do everything else, but you don't give time, to the person that should be the most important person in your life. You know what I'm saying? When was the last time you actually spoke to your husband? When was the last time you spent some quality time with your husband? When was the last time you just took a trip with your husband? Me and my husband, sometimes we do a lot of like nights here, 2 nights here. Like, we'll go away for the weekend. We'll just take a night. We'll spend at a hotel and just to spend time with each other without the children, because a marriage needs that to grow. You need quality time with each other without the kids. There's times where you go for family vacations with your kids, but there's times where it should just be you and your spouse to grow. Because remember, as years go by, as time go by, you're gonna grow as a person. You're not gonna be the same person you were in your 20s, in your 30s or in your 40s. So that quality time that you're spending with your spouse, you're learning about each other. You're growing. You're learning new things about this person. That's very important. Emotional intimacy, I feel like that's a big type of intimacy without sex. Because think about it, if you take away sex out of your marriage, let's say sex didn't exist. Let's say your husband got sick, your wife got sick, and you guys can't have sex. What is left in the relationship? Can you honestly say that you and your spouse would still have a good relationship if sex was taken away for a while or sex could not be done? Can you guys talk? Is it just boom, boom, bang? You have sex and that's it. Everybody goes to sleep. What is the relationship like without the sex? All right. And lastly, the most important one is spiritual intimacy. Some people probably don't even take that. That's probably not a thing for some people. Like, what is spiritual intimacy? I never heard of that, right? But it's a thing, and it's beautiful. Spiritual intimacy is beautiful, guys. The Bible encourages couples to help each other deepen their faith, strengthen their walk with Christ, deepen their understanding of God together as a unit. Let me read something for you guys. It said, so this is my notes. Spiritual intimacy fosters a shared sense of purpose, strengthens the couple's connection to God, and allows them to support each other on their spiritual journey. How can you develop your intimacy spiritually? Pray together. When was the last time you and your husband actually prayed together? Took the time before you guys go to bed, after you do your devotions with your children, after you do everything else, do you and your husband lay down in the bed and pray together? Pray for each other. I pray for you, you pray for me. That's just beautiful to me. Excuse me. When was the last time you guys prayed together? When was the last time you prayed for your husband? When was the last time that you prayed for your husband? Discuss your faith together. You cannot, especially when it comes to the Bible, no matter how long you've been reading the Bible, no matter how long you've been a Christian, no matter how much you think you know your Bible from Genesis to Revelation, you're always going to learn. Every time you pick up the Bible, there's always something new to learn. Talk about your faith together. Talk about what struggles you may have, something you may be struggling to understand in the Bible. Talk about it. Discuss it together. Do y'all read your Bibles together? Do y'all do little studies together? Okay? Go to church together. That's beautiful right there. That's the most beautiful. That's the most ugliest thing I believe in a marriage. One of them is one of the parties in the marriage is waking up on Sundays, going to church or going to Bible study or going this, going that, and the other one is in bed or doing something else. To me, I feel like that's ugly. When a couple goes to church together, I feel like that's just the most beautiful thing ever. Okay? Go to church together. In conclusion, guys, intimacy is very important in any marriage. Without intimacy, your marriage will struggle. Without intimacy, your marriage will crumble. And one doesn't work without the other. I feel like we should make it a daily effort to cultivate all three types of intimacies in our marriage and nurture all three equally. Physically, and again, I'm talking to my females, stop turning your husband down for sex. Stop it. They need it. This is something they need. Okay, we understand you may be tired. You may be sick, you might be on your cycle. We understand that, but communicate that with your husband. Don't just say no and that's it. Communicate. Tell him, babe, tonight is just not it. I'm not feeling good. I'm tired. I've been with the kids all day. Communicate that with your spouse. Stop turning your husband down. Stop using sex. This is another thing. Stop using sex as a punishment. When I say a punishment, like, your husband made you mad today. Well, you made me mad, so I'm not gonna give him sex. Don't do that. That's petty. Okay. Secondly, emotional intimacy. Oh my gosh. Learn your husband, learn your partner, get to know your partner, spend quality time with your partner. Okay, just talk. Sometimes just go to the park and just talk. Before you go to bed, talk. All right, and lastly, one of the most important ones is spiritual intimacy. Are you helping your partner grow spiritually? Are you guys praying together? Are you reading the word together? Are you, growing in God's words together? Okay, very important. All right, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Please leave me a comment. I want to engage. I want to talk. I want to converse with you guys. I want your opinions, not just my opinions. So please leave a comment. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to share the video. If you're enjoying my videos, please share it to a friend, to a family member, the coworker, whatever that may be. All right, so it's your girl Shaquina Lewis, and I'm out. Bye.